Everybody.
So this is Brad. What's your role in the movie world?
So I do what's called video assist. So I hook up to the film cameras and record everything that's being filmed onto videotape, and is used as a reference and continuity purposes.
So what sort of directors have you worked with over the years?
Oh, I've worked with Spielberg a couple movies. I've worked with Mike Nichols a couple movies. A whole handful of directors. Been very lucky, and a lot of the directors I've worked with: Barry Sonnenfeld, Ron Underwood, Pete Berg. You know, some really great directors. I've been very lucky in that sense.
Now you're petting two of your dogs here. Is this one? Is this Reno?
No, this is Britta. Reno, come here. Reno, come here. And Reno, when I was working on some footage shooting on Bruce Almighty, Reno was one of the stars in Bruce Almighty with Tom Shadyac, who was the director on that one. And the two animal trainers that were taking care of Reno were sitting next to me, and they were talking amongst themselves how Reno was getting a little old and his front legs didn't work so well anymore. And so they were saying we wish we could find him a good home so that we could retire him. And I just happened to, at that time, I just put a dog down that had gotten too old. And so I told him, I said, well, I'm interested in a new dog, and if you'd like to come up and look at the house, you could see if it would be a good place for Reno to live. And so they came up and they said, oh, it was great. It would be great to have Reno live here. And so we took Reno and adopted him at that time, and he's been with us now for about almost 5 years, like that.
So what was the scene on Bruce Almighty that Reno was in? Just to remind us.
He was in two scenes, but the first scene he was in was he found Jimmy Hoffa's body. He was a police dog that had found Jimmy Hoffa's body, and the scene is he's pulling up like one of the legs or the arms of Jimmy Hoffa out of the ground that he kind of sniffed out. And then the scene that he was working on when I talked to the trainer was he was playing poker with a whole bunch of other dogs, so he was a good poker player. And then about 2 years later, the same trainers came to us and they said that they had this dog whose name is Britta, and she, they said that she, they were trying to train her to be another dog, and that she was too timid, and that didn't have a good, wasn't very good as far as that, and they would want to know if we would like to adopt her. You can tell that how timid she is, how timid she is there. They need a little bit more aggressive of a dog, to have, And so the two trainers then gave us two well-trained Hollywood dogs, so to speak, like that.
Now, one of my favourite movies of all times, was it a trilogy in the end? No, we got number 4 recently. It was Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I believe you filmed on the very latest movie.
The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, yeah.
So what was it like working with Harrison Ford?
Oh, Harrison's great. I mean, I've done a couple movies with Harrison, and he's always a very enjoyable person to work with, and very professional, and hard worker, and just really fun to be around.
So in your line of work, so you sit right next to the directors, and you're looking after the video and so on. You have the headphones on. You must catch a whole lot of kind of conversations going on outside of what we get to see on the big screen.
Oh, sure, but it's just trying to have to be listening and paying attention, but at the same time being discreet at the same time too, so like that. So.
Oh, great! There's the proof. Indiana Jones 4. Yeah. That was a great movie. What would you say would be what would be one of the biggest highlights for you, or one of the funniest, craziest moments in all the sets and all the movies that you've been involved with?
Well, each movie has its own highlights and exciting moments. I mean, there isn't. You can't just put one on it, because each movie is a thrill and a joy to be on. And of course, Indiana Jones, is an unbelievable. It's when we were doing the makeup and hair tests, and Harrison Ford puts that hat on for the first time in 20 years, and Steven said, for the first time in 20 years, I'm going to say "Action, Harrison." I mean, that sends chills down your spine there, because that's a huge thrill.
Tell him what Harrison said to you when he first saw you after not working with him for so long.
Well, because I had worked with Harrison on Regarding Henry, and I mentioned to him that I worked with him on Regarding Henry, and you know, he says you were young back then, weren't you? When we worked together, you know, because it had been almost 20 years that we'd worked, you know, together at that point too. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Good stuff.
yeah.
Great. Hey, well done.
Sure.
Well, I tell you, these guys have got a week's worth of material.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
Brad
great.
will get fired from his next movie.
Yeah.
They'll never
Radio
know.
show.
They'll never know.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.